Welcome, my friends, back to the fog. This is a world of death, pain, and fear. A world where a mad god plays wicked and twisted games of pain and pleasure for the amusement of his own designs and inventions. As cruel and cunning killers hunt for survivors to sacrifice and offer up to the entity, there are a few survivors who defy the norm. Most who try to survive this place flee for their lives in the face of death, willingly leaving their comrades behind to save their own necks. But there are a few brave souls who know what it is to persevere in the face of adversity, and Adam Francis is one of these. Adam Francis was born in Kingston, Jamaica. His father died in a car accident when he was 2, and Adam was adopted by his stern but fair uncle. Adam was a studious boy, often finding more pleasure in books and academics than in sports, which made him easy prey for bullies and punks who looked down on Adam for his lack of athletic ability. But Adam adapted, learning how to both evade and fight back if need be. But his passion for education paid off, and Adam found his way into higher education, and there was a high demand for teachers overseas, and Adam was willing to pursue that career path. After long and grueling hours of work, studying, teaching, and preparing, Adam was able to apply to his first overseas job in southern Japan, where he would get a new start. But Adam's transition wasn't easy. Life in Japan was simply not the same as it was in Kingston. His language skills were subpar, his commutes were long, grocery runs could take hours as he struggled to translate the items in the store, and his lesson plans had to go according to Japanese standards and curriculum, which were not what he was used to. But just like in Kingston, Adam adapted and learned how to overcome this challenge as well. And after a few months, Adam's language skills improved, his planning began to pay off, and students were beginning to like him, and he was even able to start planning his vacation time and hours. Things were looking up for Adam at last, until that fateful day. While riding the train to work, the train suffered a terrible derailing accident. Adam was flung about like a rag doll, and though he tried to use his body to cushion the young woman standing next to him, he was certain they were all doomed. But just as he thought death would take him, he woke to fog, darkness, and terror. Adam was alive, but considering where he was, could this be considered a blessing? Meanwhile, in the world we know, Adam's co-workers feared that Adam had lost his life when his body couldn't be found in the wreckage. But Adam's uncle, to this day, is certain Adam is alive somewhere. He knew Adam as a fighter, and until he saw a body, he knew Adam must be out there somewhere, holding on as long as he can. Okay, Adam Francis is a character that I really, really want to like. I mean it. I actually identify a great deal with him on a personal level. I, too, pursued education over many different athletic activities. I, too, was bullied in my youth, and I, too, pursued higher education. Even now, I'm going through my own training to teach English in Japan, of all places. I want to teach abroad, in the same country Adam went to. Adam feels like someone who I'd really like to sit down and talk to and get an idea of what he went through and what his own struggles were. I like this character's story because it's personal to me. But, leaving my personal feelings aside, in terms of lore, this leaves a lot to be desired. Look, I can relate a great deal to what Adam went through, but that's because I'm going through a very similar scenario. Most others will not be able to relate to this. If I'm being honest, there's nothing much going for Adam in terms of story, lore, direction, or just meat. There's nothing to chew on. He's a hardworking man who got a big break in Japan, ended up struggling at first, and then found his stride only for the entity to claim him. So what's there to dive into? Why did the entity take him? Why not anyone else on the train? What other personal battles did he fight during his time in Japan and after? We don't even know what subject he teaches in Japan. We can assume probably English, but we just don't know. It never even tells us. We're given so little on Adam that frankly there's not a lot to say about him. In fact, I couldn't even find a tome dedicated to the guy. If you find a tome out there, if there is a tome for Adam that I missed, let me know in the comments. But right now I found nothing. There's nothing that we can give this guy. There's absolutely nothing I can say great about this guy. Like, what if he fell in love with someone in Japan and she didn't reciprocate that love? What if he dealt with racist comments from people? Because, let's face it, he is a black man from Jamaica going to a predominantly Asian country. Maybe he runs into a bit of racial tension there. Maybe he gets bullied by his students or staff. Maybe people make fun of him because of his lack of language skills. Maybe we could see some of the struggles he goes through while he's in Japan. We never see that. And then why does he have to do so well? What if he actually struggles? What if Japanese culture and language is something he never really adapts to very well, so he feels really depressed and hurt? Maybe he falls into alcoholism, or maybe he falls into drugs, or maybe he gets in trouble with the police or something. Maybe he jumps from country to country. Maybe he can't really feel at home anywhere. There's got to be something more to this guy, because essentially, let me tell you what this guy's story is. It is, I had a rough childhood, but I worked hard, went to another country, things turned out okay, and now I'm in the entities world. There is so little to work off with that. It is, I'd call it vanilla, but that would be doing it too much credit. It is bland toast. There is just nothing. You can't even put the butter on the toast. It's just bland toast. I want to like it. Again, I want to like this, but there is absolutely nothing to Adam's story that I really, really like. In fact, here's a question. Why did he pursue teaching abroad? Well, I'm not against it. I'm pursuing teaching abroad, but I can give you my reason. I'm pursuing teaching abroad because I have been in relationships and friendships with various people from all over the Southeastern Asian area. Korea, Japan, China, Thailand, the Philippines. I've had friends and even girlfriends from those countries. I have a very big passion and love for those cultures and customs and the languages, and I would really like to teach in those areas so that I can reconnect with that culture and language and lifestyle, because I think that there's a lot to love about those cultures. But with Adam, what drew him to Japan? What drew him to that country? What drew him to teaching abroad in general? Would it have mattered if he got a job somewhere else, like in Spain or in Russia or in Germany or in India or somewhere else? Like, would that have mattered to him? Was Japan just his first choice, or was there some reason he went there? We don't know. We don't know anything about Adam. We know nothing about the guy, which is a shame, because I want to like him. I want to stand here and defend him and say this is a really well-written character, but I can't do that because he's not. This may be one of the most bland characters Dead by Daylight's ever given us, and that is sad. But, okay, his lore's not great. What about his perks, right? Surely those are good. Well, yes and no. Adam comes with one really good perk, an okay perk for tight situations, and he comes with one of the most useless perks in the game. No, I don't mean he has a useless perk. I mean he has perhaps the most useless perk in the game. Adam comes with Diversion, Deliverance, and Autodidactic. First, Diversion. Diversion is his okay perk. After you are in the killer's terror radius for 30 seconds without being chased, that is very important, you can't be chased, the perk activates, okay? While crouched and unmoving, press the active ability button to throw a pebble 20 meters from where you are. The pebble will create a noise notification for the killer and leave behind scratch marks. Once Diversion is used, the perk timer resets. This perk is decent to draw the killer away and towards something else to buy you time to get away, or to perhaps lure a killer somewhere else so you can save another survivor. But it can be hard to fill up the timer necessary to use it, so that is a risk you have to take. Next up is Deliverance, and this is his awesome perk. If you play Survivor, you know that one of the worst things that can happen is you end up on the hook. When you're on the hook, normally you only have a 2% chance to get yourself off. When you perform a safe hook rescue, if you save another survivor from the hook, this perk activates. While Deliverance is active, you will have a 100% chance to escape from the hook, assuming you're on first hook. So in other words, if you rescue someone else from the hook, if the killer puts you on the hook and it's your first time, you will 100% be able to get yourself off the hook. Now, you'll suffer from the broken status effect for 60 seconds after freeing yourself, but you can get yourself off the hook for free. Deliverance is a great encouragement to be helpful to other survivors. It is a great encouragement for altruism. It allows you to get one free get off the hook chance during the trial, and that can be amazing. But with that said, it can only be used once, because after you get off the hook the first time, you automatically go into the second hook phase afterwards. And it's useless if you get hooked before you can activate it. So for example, if you're the first one in the trial to be hooked, it's useless. Autodidact will not work for you, because it doesn't matter if you save someone from the next hook. Once you go on the hook next time, you'll be in the second hook phase and you can't get yourself off. It's an awesome perk, but it has clear drawbacks.
You disappoint me. Is that the best you've got? 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you.
And then finally, Autodidact. Autodidact is perhaps the most useless perk in the whole game. Autodidact means self-taught, and usually it's used by pretentious assholes to try and sound smarter than they really are. And just like those pretentious pricks, Autodidact is about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. Alright. With Autodidact, you start the trial with negative 25% progression penalty for successful skill checks while healing a survivor. While healing a survivor, each good skill check rewards a token of up to a maximum of 5 tokens. Each token you have offers a bonus of 15% progression for good skill checks while healing a survivor. However, you cannot use Autodidact while healing with a medkit, and you also do not get great skill checks while using Autodidact. Now, for those who didn't quite get what I just said, let me explain what that means as simply as I can. You start off the trial with good skill checks being ultimately useless. They have a negative 25% progression bonus. In other words, they do negative help. But if you get 5 good skill checks, then you have the potential to increase the reward of good skill checks up to 85%. Well, actually, no, not even 85%. Let's do the math. Because if you start the trial with negative 25%, then that drops it down to just 60%, doesn't it? Yeah, you get a maximum of 60% bonus. So essentially, it doesn't speed up your healing unless you get good skill checks. You have to get 5 good skill checks to get the maximum potential out of it. And even then, that's assuming you have the opportunity to heal survivors that frequently. And that's assuming you get enough good skill checks during the healing process to make it worth anything. Why would you want to use it anyway when you could just run with a med kit? You can't even heal yourself with it. The perk is useless, okay? This perk is useless. I've never met anyone who runs it. I would say don't bother with it. It's a waste of space on your perk board when there are countless other perks out there that are way more useful than this. I don't know why anyone would run this. Now, if you do think that there's something good to this perk, tell me about it, respectfully. Tell me what you think is good about it, because I honestly don't see it. Not when you have such options as medkits to run. Like, those seem like a much better idea to me, but regardless. Here's the thing, Adam Francis, like I said, I want to like the guy. I really do. I want to like him. His lore is just so bland. There's nothing to it. There's nothing to sink your teeth into. There's nothing to explore. There's nothing to say is really good. All we can do is say, well, maybe this could have happened while he's in Japan. Maybe this could have happened while it's in his childhood. Maybe he wanted to go for some reason, but we don't have any answers. We can't answer anything. We don't know anything about him. And as for his perks, he has 2 perks that are pretty neat and very helpful in certain tight situations, but they are situational, which can be a problem. And then he has 1 perk that I think is so useless, I just cannot think of one good reason to run it. Unless you just really want to complete the Adam Francis build. Yeah, I would say this. Adam Francis, he just doesn't give enough, I'm afraid. He just does not give enough for me to like him that much. I want to like him, but I can't really recommend him based on anything more than just, hey, he has a few good perks, use those. But anyway, that's done with this survivor. But Adam Francis came out with a certain killer, my favorite killer in Dead by Daylight, and I can't wait to talk about her. Tune in next time in The Fog, guys, so we can talk about a very special, very scary Japanese lady. It's going to be a great time, guys, and I will see you next time in The Fog. Take care.